Hello guys, this is CJ Musical Julius and welcome back for another video tutorial. Happy New Year guys. This is 2025 and we are jumping on our very first lesson concerning beginner to intermediate level. So I want to thank everybody who has been following me on this channel and thank you for your comments. You guys are awesome. God bless you. As we jump on this session, I just want to cover 7 things that can help you move from your beginner level to intermediate level. And without wasting time, let's jump on the tutorial and God bless you. So the very first thing that you need to understand as a beginner is to understand the formation of the notes on the keyboard, whereby we have a group of 2 black notes and 3 black notes. So with that saying, on every 2 black notes you have this white note here called C, and you have to name those notes according to the alphabets, the very 7 first alphabets, A going to G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So with us knowing where C is, we are able to understand that that's A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Back again to A, B, C, and all the way up, all the way down. So the other thing on that segment, you have also to understand the naming of the notes, these black notes. Okay, so you have this as C sharp or D flat, and that as D sharp or E flat, F sharp or G flat, G sharp or A flat, A sharp or B flat. 5 of those notes. Okay, and so learning the notes in terms of alphabet, so you also have to understand that we have only 12 notes that are grouped and like in a sequence, in a series of notes. So we have C, C sharp, which makes it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Here we start again back to C. So here we are back again to C. So we have only 12 notes. Now the second thing you have to understand is all about scales. Okay, scales. And here we speak of major scales together with minor scales. Major scales, simple, starting from C to C, you have to play all these white notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to 1 or 8. So from C to C, it easens up to understand the C major scale. Okay? C major scale. That's the major scale. And we give that scale numbers, whereby this is your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 1. Okay? So there are 8 notes on a major scale. So as we said, we have 12 notes or 12 keys on the keyboard. So this is your very first key, C. So you learn your major scales in the key of C. You also learn your major scales in the key of C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, that way. So here is the link whereby you can learn your major scale with correct fingering. Okay, so coming up to minor scales, we have 3 types of minor scales. We have the minor, natural minor scale. We have the harmonic minor scale, also melodic minor scale. All that you have to cover in the segment of scales. And that's your second thing that will help you move from beginner level to intermediate level. And also here is the link to how you can play your minor scales. Okay, the third thing, jumping on the third thing that will help you move from beginner level to intermediate is all about chords, how to form your chords. So from C major scale, you have your 1, 3, 5. Okay, do, mi, so, those using solfa notations. So this is your C major triad. We call these triads. A chord that is formed by 3 notes, okay, stacked together. So this is a major triad. I also have videos on how you can form your triads. So we have only 4 types of triads that are very important for you to cover in this beginner level going to intermediate. So the very first one is a major triad. Then we have a minor triad. Then we have a diminished triad. And the last one is an augmented triad. So those are the 4 classes of triads that you have to cover in the beginner level. And this applies to all 12 keys. So you have to learn in C sharp major, C sharp minor, C sharp diminished, C sharp augmented. Then you move to D major, D minor, D diminished, D augmented. So you do that in all 12 keys. So speaking of these 4 types of triads, they get us to the other 4th step of learning from beginner to intermediate. Now you have to know your inversions of these triads. Okay, so we have C major, whereby moving this note here, it gives you a C major triad, first inversion. Moving this note here, it gives you a C major triad, second inversion, and back to root position. Okay, so that's how the concept of inversion works. So it's just, moving around certain notes and, rearranging the notes on the chord. So you have to do that covering all the 4 types of triads. Speaking of minor triad, C minor triad, move that note there. This note comes here, that's another inversion, back to. So you have to get comfortable with those inversions in every key. And we speak of diminished, D-diminished inversions. You go to E flat diminished inversions. So that's your 4th category of the steps that you need to take from beginner to intermediate. So let's go to number 5. Number 5 speaks out of learning your, the class of 7th chords. Speaking of major 7th, minor 7th chords, diminished 7th chords, together with what we call dominant 7th chords. Now you will find yourself adding a note. Apart from those triads, you now have a chord that has 4 notes. So this is what we call a C major 7, which has your 1, 3, 5, and major 7. So it makes a major 7th chord. And speaking of a minor 7th, that's your minor 7th chord. Speaking of a diminished 7th chord, that's your diminished 7th chord, C. And the last one is a dominant 7th chord. And as I said, with these chords, you also have to do the inversions of these chords in every key. So if you have a C major 7, you take this note here, you get your first inversion, you take that note there, you get your second inversion, take that note there, you get your third inversion back to root position. So we have 4 positions in these types of chords, the 7th class. Okay, so inversions, very important. Now the other thing that I forgot to say is, with your left hand, you might be practicing on how to do those chords also from the triads, also the scales. Your left hand might also want to do that, but also you can want to, play what we call the power chords on the left hand. So most of the power chords in this beginner level is just having your root and your 5th note of every chord that you kind of build. And I have a very nice segment that speaks out of power chords. Here is the link to that tutorial. You can see how those power chords help you to voice up your chords as you start learning different chords on the piano. Okay, so that's the power chord segment where you have to also practice. Okay, now moving to number 6, we have what we call simple chord voicings. As you have covered your major 7th, minor 7th, diminished 7th, and dominant 7th, so you now move to a segment of voicings. So we have simple voicings such as open voicings. So as you have learned your major 7th chords, you want to also learn how to voice them in a different way. Like this one here is called a C major 7th open voicing. So you just have your 3rd and your major 7th plus your 3rd again. Okay, this is called a D minor 7th voicing, E minor 7th, E minor 7th voicing, F major 7, okay, A minor 7, open voicing. As you grow up into intermediate level, you now have to kind of, use these in approaching different songs. And as we'll be sharing on coming tutorials, you'll see how these chords are being used. So for now, I just want you to learn in every key. You want to learn your major 7 open voicings, your minor 7th open voicings, your diminished 7th in different voicings. We have the drop 2 voicings, that's kind of intermediate. Okay, we'll cover that. But for major, minor, and dominant 7th chords, you want to learn your open voicings. So that's the other thing. Also a tutorial concerning open voicings. The link is up here. Okay, now the last thing that you need to cover as a beginner growing up into intermediate level is playing chord progressions using chords. So speaking of chord progressions, as a beginner, you want also to learn and understand about the circular movement of chords while playing piano. Okay, the circular movement. We have something called the circle of fourth or the circle of fifth. You want also to cover that. So we have this circle here that moves in intervals of fourth. Okay, so speaking of intervals, I have another tutorial that you can watch that covers and lets you understand about intervals. Okay, so these are the very 7 things that I wanted to share with you guys that will take your playing from beginnery level going into intermediate level. So as you plan for your practice session, you as a beginner moving to intermediate level, you want to make sure that you cover all these things that I've just mentioned, and I've tried to give you an insight in everything that I've just said concerning these 7 items. So God bless you guys. I hope this tutorial helps you in your journey moving from beginner to intermediate level, and I'll see you guys on the coming sessions. Do not forget to subscribe. This is CJ Music, and God bless you. Amen.